Hello, everyone. We are live on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. It is day 2 of Black and National Parks Week. Thank you so much for being a part of this with us. I'm so excited to have Carolyne with me. If I'm saying it wrong, Carolyne, I just want to make sure I'm saying it right.
Yes, Carolyne.
Carolyne Richardson, who we met like before COVID, I think, in terms of like our first
Yes.
in-person meeting. But we have lots of mutual friends that do a lot of outdoor recreation activities, including national park visits. So today is day 2 of Black and National Parks Week, Voices of the Movement, Part 1, and we're just getting firsthand accounts of educators, activists, adventurers, Black, all of those things that adventure using, their passion, their connection with nature to share their experiences to the outdoors. And we're going to focus specifically on national parks. So yours more has to do with bucket list traveling and recording and documenting your travels to national parks. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But before I get started, if you're tuning in, this is my YouTube channel. I'm hoping to get more views on my YouTube channel. I'm working on that. But also, just getting more interviews and stories. So Black and National Parks Week was created in 2020, August of 2020. This is my 5-year anniversary. Excited. Can't believe it's been 5 years. But I'm excited to celebrate what I started with as an idea of just my passion and interest in collecting more stories of everyday Black people visiting national parks, as well as learning more about the Black history as it connects to our national park system in the United States. So with that, we're going to get started with our conversation with Carolyne and learn more about her adventures and journeys in getting started with her national parks bucket list. So if you don't mind, please introduce yourself, Carolyne, and what you do and where you're from.
I live in beautiful, colorful Colorado, and I am a passionate adventurer, explorer, protector, supporter, and advocate for our national parks as well as other public lands.
Awesome. One second, hold on. Something just popped up on my screen. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do. Okay, can you still hear me, Carolyne?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I am just wanting to know more of your experience and how you've been to a ton of national parks, capital N, capital P, of the 63 national park designations for your travels. And I just kind of want to know how that started. What was the kind of plan? Did you have a plan? Was it something you've always wanted to do? What got you interested in national parks, and what was your first national park visit?
Okay. First answer is no. It was never planned to visit all 63. My very first national park was Acadia in Maine. And in case you didn't know, that's the first place to see the sunrise in the United States on Cadillac Mountain. I traveled there with my sons in the early, I forget, but that was my first national park. And we traveled often. And I just started incorporating parks into our vacations. And I think maybe around 15 or 20, it's like, okay, let's see about visiting all 63. So it wasn't planned, but that's how it started.
Wow. So how was Acadia for you when you first visited?
Acadia was magical. I
Mm.
remember hiking up to Cadillac Mountain and seeing that first sunrise, even after all these years, it still resonates with me, and hiking throughout the park as well. But in all honesty, it's been so many years ago and so many parks ago, I don't remember much. I'd have to look at old photos, but I remember being atop Cadillac Mountain and the drive up.
So are you collecting stamps at this point, like when you first started, or was that later on your
It,
journey?
it was too late. By the time I found out about the stamps, I was well into the parks. Some I will revisit, but others probably not. So I have photos and I have memories.
That still counts. That very much still counts. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to see or had a list of things to see once you started formulating your list, your park
Yes,
list?
yes. What I would do is research. And I stress that strongly. Research, research, research. And then I had an itinerary. So when I went to the parks, I knew exactly what I had planned to do. And I also added other activities as well.
So when you started developing your planning for the park visits, did you have help? Did you get support? Was it just you putting everything together? I know at a certain time, with technology, it has advanced. Were you using a lot of maps? Were you using apps at all to help guide you with your planning?
I used Atlas because I have two on my desk here and I have one in the car. So I started out using atlases, and then I would just Google and read. And I also have several national park books. And I've always loved maps and globes from the time I was a small child. And I
Mhm.
just started planning. And a friend of mine told me when I was in my early 20s, he said, while
Mhm.
everyone else is sleeping, you're planning a trip somewhere. And that still rings
Mhm.
true.
I love that. So with your trip planning, were you ever with other people? Were you doing it solo? Were you doing a combination?
A combination. Again, it started with my two sons, and
Hmm.
then it graduated to groups. My first backpack at the ripe old age of 47 was to
Hmm.
the bottom of the Grand Canyon. And
Oh, wow.
that was with Fresco Adventures out of Maryland.
Hmm.
And that surprised me. I trained because I was living in Michigan at the time. So I went to the gym. I was in the best physical shape of my life.
Mm.
But as we started to descend, it was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. And I met Ray, and Ray was so supportive. And he kept giving me affirmations. You can do
Mm.
this. You can do this. Slow and steady, one foot in front of the other. And I was just learned, I bought trekking poles, but I didn't really know how to use them. So Ray
Hmm.
would say, I don't hear those poles clicking. I don't hear them clicking. And he reminded me that I needed to get to the bottom of the canyon by dark. And
Mm. Hmm.
I huffed and puffed my way down, 7.5 hours down. And we
Wow.
slept at Bright Angel Campground. And then it was a grueling 12.5 hours up. And
Mm.
I swore I would never backpack again. And then fast forward 5 years, I joined my ex-husband and three of his friends along the Teton Crest Trail in Wyoming. We
Hmm.
spent 4 days, 5 days, 4 days, 39 miles, 5,000 feet elevation gain. And I knew I was in
Wow.
trouble again, but I
Mm-hmm.
reminded myself, you backpacked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this. I got
Mm-hmm.
through that one. And then I joined um, Balanced Rock out in
Yeah.
Yosemite for the
Mm-hmm.
Women of Color backpack. And that was 5 days. And I was really proud of myself because I was the second oldest person. I was in my 50s then, but
Mm-hmm.
I was the second person to reach the summit on the second day.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So was there a specific way that you celebrated? Like, how did you celebrate that?
I
Do
probably
you
just
remember, or did you?
I probably just went to sleep afterwards.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's wow. How did that feel? Like, were you just physically exhausted, or like, how was the feeling once it was over? Like, once you realized, okay, I've accomplished this, it's done. Did you kind of just like focus on rest, or?
No, I was still on an emotional high because I was with
Mm,
young girls in their 20s.
yeah, yeah.
I was still on that emotional high.
Wow. So you mentioned a couple already, but do you have any other big obstacles that you've had to overcome in any of your national park um, visits later in life, like later down the line?
Not that I can think of, because usually I start
Mm-hmm.
planning so far in advance,
Mm-hmm.
and then the itinerary is done. It just comes together.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything in particular that helps you with your planning as far as like gear? Like, do you have a checklist of things that you take with you always, or is it trip dependent?
It's trip dependent. If I'm backpacking, my pack is always packed. And then
Mm-hmm.
once I return, I replenish everything. So it's like a
Mm-hmm.
go bag. When I'm ready to go, I
Oh,
just
okay.
grab it and go.
Mhm. What's been something special, one of the things special that you've taken with you on your trips?
Well, this is my third version of it. The first one was
Mm-hmm.
called, I forget what it was called, but it allows you to use the bathroom like a man. So you don't have to go
Mm-hmm.
and squat. So I could just stand and whiz just like the guys.
I would assume that's very helpful, especially if you're on the go.
Yes, and if you're hiking or backpacking with guys, and then I
Mm-hmm.
added a new device earlier this year, and it's like a
Mm-hmm.
bottle, and you can relieve yourself in your tent.
Oh, okay.
I, I
Yeah,
practiced
that's a new one.
I practiced at home first.
I love that. I love that. It's good to know that you can like try things out before you actually use them in real time, just to not have to make a fool of yourself. Those moments aren't as fun. Which park has been the most surprising? If it's one that's exceeded your expectations or was completely different than what you imagined.
That's a difficult one to answer because so many parts, there's so many variables in there. But I go back
Mm-hmm.
to the Grand Canyon because I think everybody should visit the Grand Canyon at least once. But after this trip I just completed, Glacier just blew me away. And because I was on the 2 week, 5,000 mile, 6 state, 5 national park trip, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have enough time to allow myself to fully enjoy Glacier.
Mm-hmm.
But I later deemed it, that was an exploratory visit. Now that I've gone, I plan to return and probably spend at least a week there. There is so much activity from hiking, biking, backpacking, rafting, zip lining, horseback riding. All of these I love. So
Mhm.
another trip is in my head.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that Crater Lake was one of the locations you visited, one of the national park sites you visited, and you had previously gone. Was Crater Lake the only place you've been to before, or were there other national park sites that you had visited beforehand as well?
There are others. Rocky Mountain, because I'm here in Colorado. Great Sand Dunes, I'm here in Colorado. Yellowstone, I've been to Yellowstone multiple times. But Crater Lake, that was very significant because I actually started planning that one about 20 years ago. But thanks to mudslides, forest fires, COVID,
Mhm.
rainfall, when it was time to go, those events prevented me from going. So I
Mhm.
finally succeeded 2 years ago. My son
Mhm.
and I, we visited, I think, 4 parks in California, and we drove to Crater Lake, very excited. My son is 6'4", 6'5", and
Oh
as
wow.
we approached the park, there were signs saying only the visitor center was open. And as we were
Mhm.
walking in, the snowpack was at least 4 to 5 feet above his head. So we never saw the lake.
Hmm. Oh my goodness.
So I was disappointed. But as I started planning this trip, I planned that to be the pinnacle of this trip was to finally see the lake.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, I've only seen pictures. That's one of them that's been on my list for a while, only because it was established on my birthday. So that's why I definitely want to go. I want to say it was early 1900s. But it's so beautiful. Just looking at the photos, I'm just like, this place looks amazing. But I know you have to pay attention to the time of year as far as, like you were saying, like the weather and like the road closures and things like that as well. You can't just go
Correct,
anytime.
correct.
Um, have you had any issues with planning where you've had to pivot due to weather or unpredictable, Mother Nature?
Other than the snow at Crater Lake, no. That's part of doing the research, determining when is
Hmm.
the best time to go. And with this trip, I really wanted to drive Going to the Sun Road in Glacier. And July was a perfect time, even though I hate hot weather. But I was determined to drive that road. And I spent 5 hours driving.
Wow.
I kept telling myself, you're not going to stop at this pullout. I lied. I stopped.
What has your experience been with the reservation systems? Has that been something of a headache for you? Is it something you feel like you can uh, plug into your planning?
I can. Usually I plan well in advance, but with this recent trip, work was hectic and I did not get to reserve a campsite at Olympic National Park. I really wanted to camp in the rainforest, but it was full. So that means I have to make
Mm,
a subsequent trip.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how far in advance do you have to set that up
I,
usually?
I think it's 6 months.
Wow.
I think
6 months.
some parks, it's even a year.
Wow. That's wild. It hasn't always been that way, right?
No, but that's how they can control the visits to how many people. are in overcrowding and everything. And
Yeah.
all national
Yeah.
parks don't require permit visits.
Right. I feel like the most popular ones are usually the ones that have the the setup of the reservation system, especially for the summer months, because that's when the most people are visiting.
Yes.
I want to ask, and thinking about this in terms of just, I guess, building community connection. I'm sure you've met so many people on your travels. Do you have any memorable um, kind of encounters with people that like left something impactful with you, or just I know some people kind of like you see them and you meet someone and you never see them again, or you make a new friend and you end up visiting them somewhere else or meeting up with them somewhere else to have another like fun outdoor experience, whether it's kayaking, hiking, or whatever. Have you had any of those experiences?
I have, and one comes to mind when I visited Isle Royale in northern Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually closer to Canada than it is the main line, the shoreline of Michigan. And I entered through, I'm drawing a blank, but as I got there, I met three solo women hikers.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And one in particular was Yolanda. She's from
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota. And we ended up hiking out together. And she was telling me that we had so much in common. She loves road trips and everything.
Yeah.
She was driving out west and she was coming through Colorado. So I told her, I said,
Mm-hmm.
when you come this way, you're welcome to stay with me. And she said, okay, well, when you come back from Voyagers, do you need a place to stay? And I said, I already have a hotel reservation. And she told me she was really close to the ferry that I was taking across Lake Michigan. So I canceled my reservation. I spent the night with her in Wausau, Wisconsin, and
Oh,
we toured downtown and everything together. And then I left. And I think it was 2 months later, she ended up staying with me here in Colorado
that's
on
so
her,
cool.
on
Oh, I
her
love
way to
that.
Texas.
That's really cool. Yeah, I love moments like that where you just have these awesome encounters with people, strangers that become friends,
Yes.
and you get to do things like that. That's so cool. Do you have any memorable, kind of, I guess, happy accidents from your travels?
Oh, probably. I'll go back to this recent trip when I left Crater Lake. It was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be a 90-minute drive to Bend, Oregon,
Okay.
but GPS had me out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have a signal for 5 hours.
Oh,
And I
no.
think I've been here before. I've been here before. So I'm driving along and I see this airport that had one
Mm-hmm.
plane. So I made a U-turn. It only had one plane and the runway was really short. So I took a picture. And then as I'm listening to GPS, I go around the bend and I see this orange helicopter. It was huge. So I made
Mm-hmm.
another U-turn and I saw a woman walking towards me. So I asked her, was it open to the public? And she said, no, this is oh, I forget what you call it, the firefighter planes. The, I'm drawing a blank, but
Ooh, I
it
think I know what you're talking about, but yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So, and I asked her, can I take a picture? And she asked me, do you want to come inside? It's like, sure. So as we're walking inside, she's the co-pilot of it. And she's explaining to me how the hose, it collects 1,000 gallons of water and the tank. And she showed me the tank. She showed me how it worked and everything. And then they go and they drop it over fires.
Mm-hmm.
I got a tour inside and out of that helicopter because GPS routed me the wrong way.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So you just got to hang out and like check out the plane, like you got to look in and everything.
I got to sit in the captain's seat, okay?
Oh, wow. So did they have a bunch of questions for you?
No, surprisingly, surprised to see me because I was the only person there.
Right.
But no, and people I've met along these journeys, and I've been in some really remote areas. Everybody's
Mm,
super friendly, super informative.
hmm.
While you're here, you should do this, or have you done that yet? I have not had a bad park experience ever.
That's awesome. And I love those stories when you're just like enjoying yourself, you're meeting new people, everybody's nice, and like, yeah, giving you suggestions for future visits and continuing your traveling. I think about this more with my like family and my siblings, I guess, as a whole, and just thinking about more of like, I guess, I feel like there's kind of like a balance of curiosity and interest and discovery, but then for a lot of people, it still is like a lot of the unknown. So they're unsure about doing something like what you've done in terms of doing something solo or with friends. What advice would you give to someone who's interested in starting their own national park journey or venturing out to other places that they might not have been before but are curious about, as far as just building your confidence, kind of dissipating some of that fear? What advice would you give?
Again, research, 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 because the park system has 433 units, and there are landmarks, rivers, seashores, historic sites, just like the Martin Luther King home in Atlanta. So many people are
Mm-hmm.
unaware that's part of the national park system. So there's something for everyone in the national park. You don't have to backpack or camp or hike or rafting or anything like I would choose to do. The visitor center is a stopping off point for everybody. You start with the film there, and it introduces you to the park. And there's so much literature there in the park. The rangers are so knowledgeable. You could easily walk up. This is my first park. I've never been here. And then they say something like, oh, well, this is only a short quarter-mile hike around this lake. And even it's ADA. A lot of parks are accessible. I was North Cascades. They had a complete walkway out. I was surprised by that. And the
Mm-hmm.
children, that's what I love the most. I see them, their little excited faces, and they're getting their stamps and they're
Yeah.
buying souvenirs and they're asking questions and they've got their little books and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The world is their oyster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even if you just visit a national park and go to the visitor center, that's a start. And then you can build on that. Okay, well, I've done the visitor center. Maybe I'll do this half-mile hike since the last time I did a quarter mile. Start small and build on it.
Yeah, that was definitely part of my experience. Like, I love the visitor centers. I love getting my stamps in the visitor center. And also, when I went to the Pullman National Monument in Chicago, we took the train to get to the national park site, which was really like, again, thinking about public transit even as a part of the experience was really cool for me because I don't drive. So I'm like, yay, there's a train you can actually take. And then we got a full tour of the facility. And this was before their big renovation that they did. But it was amazing to know that public transit was a part of that experience and that there's so many other parks in urban areas that people can visit. And another one was Martin Luther King site. And then I'm also thinking of just the historical layers. I think a lot of people just associate national parks with, like, you know, the outdoors and nature, which yes, but also there's the historical and cultural layers that come with that history. Is there anything in particular from your travels that you learned that was something you didn't know or were fascinated by as far as just culture and history from a national park site?
Yes, it was Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. I had done my research, and Audrey Peterman, who most of us know, she sent me a message. You have to meet Jerry Bransford. It's like, who's Jerry Bransford? I think she gave me his number or vice versa. And we met up. He's a park ranger, African-American park ranger there. And his ancestors were some of the first cave guides. And Jerry gave me the whole history of his family. We met at a gas station because I was leaving.
Wow.
But that sticks with me.
Mm.
So yes, there's unknown history there to be uncovered.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a substantial amount. Like, Jerry has so much information about his family history. I did an interview with him last year, and I was just blown away by all of the information he had, and the archives of things that he had too from the park and his family. And it was just, yeah, it was hard for me not to, like, get emotional listening to his story and just his own passion, you know, for the parks, and sharing his family history was really beautiful. So as a Black woman, your relationship with America's vast public lands might be unique compared to, I would say, your everyday person. Have you ever reflected on the history of these spaces while visiting them? And what has it meant to you to claim your place and create your own memories in them so freely?
Yes, but a recent memory comes to mind from this trip I took last month. It was not in a national park. It was in Virginia City, Montana. And my friend from West Palm Beach, Florida, she was there a few years ago, and she took pictures of this building called the Hangman Building. And it was owned by a formerly enslaved woman from Tennessee, I think. She traveled out, and in Virginia City, Montana, in the late 1800s, she became the first African American and probably the first woman to own a public utility. She owned the water company.
Oh, wow.
In the late 1800s in Montana. That was mind-boggling to me. So when I left somewhere in Montana, I drove over to Virginia City, and I stood there in front of Sarah Bixford's building. And I tried to imagine, as I walked down the planks, I tried to imagine her walking down the planks and what her life was like. And I bought the book and I read it. She was well respected in the 1800s. When she was in publications, they did not mention her race at all. And she was buried in the cemetery there with dignitaries, with white dignitaries in the 1800s. I drove up to the cemetery, and I was remiss. I did not find her grave before I got there. I tried walking around, but the names were gone and everything. But that was very emotional for me, because I tried to imagine me in her position. back then
Mm,
and how I would have felt.
mm,
But that's more
mm.
untold history.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much of it. Wow, that must have been an amazing experience. Hmm. So what do you say to someone who's older, senior, senior level, who feels like, their time is past? I don't have the resources or the energy or whatever it may be, feels like, I am older now, so therefore I can't, dot, dot, dot. What do you say to that person as far as just creating their own bucket list?
Well, I don't believe in I can't. I may be
Mm,
limited and I may have to modify things. I've made a knee replacement now for almost 10 years, 10 years next
mm,
year. I'm slower, but I still do everything that I want to do. And the first thing I would recommend is there's so many different groups nowadays. Get involved with
mm-hmm.
groups so you can be around others, like-minded people,
Yeah.
and just go. There are tour groups, tour companies out there, like here in the Rocky Mountains. There are tour companies that will take you to the parks. And I've
Mm-hmm.
seen people in wheelchairs. I've seen people on
Mm-hmm.
canes, and they still go. They don't backpack or anything, but they still get to enjoy the parks. There's something for everyone in the park. And older American citizens, once you're 62, you pay $80, you get a lifetime pass to go to the park.
Yeah. A lifetime pass. That's awesome. I love
A
that.
lifetime pass. So you could just drive up to the visitor center to all of these locations. And if it's not a
Mhm.
national park, once again, there's so many other park units you can
Yep.
go to.
Yep. Yeah, not everything is outdoors. So I like that too, that convenience of going somewhere where you don't necessarily have to be on on a trail or in the water. Um, I realized with the oh my goodness, there's a lot of national parks in DC that are like museums. So you're
Yes,
inside, most of the time. You don't necessarily have to be out and about the whole time, which is really helpful, especially if you have mobility issues or hearing, hard of hearing. Because I know some places have like the headphones where you can like listen to the interpretation as well, along with Braille if you're blind, things like that. So I think, yeah, like you were saying, just more accessible opportunities that you have. So what's next for you, Carolyne?
next up probably will be Hot Springs, the St. Louis Arch, which most people don't realize that's a national
Yeah,
park.
even though
And
it's the smallest of the national park sites, it's still
yes,
it's still a national park site. Mhm.
yes. So those two, I think there's a third one I'm missing. I'm only missing four, I think, east of the Mississippi.
Mhm.
And one of those is Dry Tortugas near
Yes.
West. And I was there 30 years ago and I'm like, no, I don't need to go. So now I have to get
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
Dry Tortugas
That's the one where you have to take the ferry, right?
or fly.
Or fly. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, I feel like that one is a little bit, yeah, I would say that's definitely a little bit more planning as well because of the timed forms of transportation.
yes. And then there are a few in Alaska. I think it's Cobalt Valley. You have to fly
Hmm.
to that one. I've only been to, I think Alaska has 8, and I've been to 3. I actually honeymooned in Katmai National Park
Oh, wow.
with the grizzly bears. That was exciting.
The grizzly bears. Oh, my goodness.
And Denali, I've been to Denali twice, and I've never seen the mountains because it makes its own
Mm,
weather. And in
Yeah.
this Facebook group, Travelers of the U.S. National Parks, I see
Hmm.
posts, oh, we saw the mountain. Just like everybody sees the mountain except me.
Are you going to give it another try?
I am. Fresco Adventures is going in 28, I think.
Hmm.
And she
Hmm.
hasn't determined which parks they're going to yet. So I will either go to all of them with them if they're parks I have not visited, excluding Denali, or I'll
Yeah.
just meet them at the ones I want to visit.
Mhm. Have you been to the Virgin Islands
I
National
have,
Park?
I have.
How was that?
That was exciting. I was on a cruise. So near the dock, I think I walked to the park from the dock
Oh,
on a cruise. Hmm?
that's awesome. I'm sure the weather was gorgeous.
Yes, that was January or February. So yes, it was because
Hmm.
I don't like hot weather.
Hmm. So when you say you don't like hot weather, do you mean humidity or like dry heat? Which
Hot is hot. In Arizona,
okay.
oh, it's dry heat. No, it's hot.
Hmm. Hmm.
I visit those parks when it's not hot.
Yeah, yeah. I had that experience visiting Badlands. It was in June,
Oh boy.
and
Mhm.
it was miserable because there's no shade. It's just a bunch of rock, formation. So you can't really escape unless you're like in the Black Hills. But like, yeah, there was no relief. I'm excited that there is enough birds out there for me to view to kind of outweigh
Heat.
the miserableness of the heat. But yeah, I would definitely go at another time.
Strategic
The
plan.
rock formations were beautiful.
I visited that one twice, once in an RV, and the second time with Fresco Adventures.
So you mentioned, okay, so you just mentioned RV. How much of your travel has taken place in an RV?
To national parks or not?
To national parks that you can kind of guesstimate?
Yellowstone, the Tetons. And I can't remember. It was so long ago. But definitely those two.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I mean, I'm definitely more of like, I would want to do more solo traveling, but I feel like for certain parks, I would want to have like one or two good friends with me. Especially if there's like, I think of like the Great Smoky Mountains and like the stars, like there was no light pollution. I went in December. Yeah, I went in December. This was before COVID. And like just the stars, I was just like, I don't want to experience this by myself. It was amazing. I've never seen so many stars. Like, I can't even explain it, but it was amazing because we had to like, it would get dark at like 5, I think, like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So we'd have to be up pretty early to get out on the trails. But like once the night came, oh my goodness, it was just like I didn't want to go back inside because there was just so many stars out.
That is my favorite part for backpacking. Even on that
Mm.
first backpack to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, oh my God, when I made it down, Ray and I forget his name, they actually set up my tent. They got my food together because I was just totally exhausted. And normally I'm like the cleanest person in the world, but after
Hmm.
hiking 7.5 hours down, I didn't care. So I ate and I'm in my tent and I roll over. It's like, oh my God, what's that horrible smell? And then I roll this way. It's like, I still smell it. It's like, it's me. But
Goodness.
then I looked up, and that was the first time I ever saw an unpolluted sky
Hmm.
like that. And it's resonated with me ever since. And now when I'm camping or backpacking, I check the weather. if it's not raining, I don't sleep with my rain fly on my tent because I want to see the stars again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's some amazing parks that have the dark skies programs where literally like just literally just looks like a bunch of diamonds in the sky. I guess that's the best way to explain it. But yeah, there's, you know, even thinking about the different landscapes, but also because you mentioned wildlife as well. The wildlife is phenomenal. I still have yet to see a moose in my lifetime. That's something I definitely want to like experience. Have you had any interesting animal encounters during your national park travels?
I've seen bear, moose. Oh, when we did the Teton Crest Trail, we
Mm-hmm.
we met at the Brevant campground in Jackson Hole. And I carried all this camera gear. It was in my car. When we woke up that morning, there were so many moose in the park. I didn't have a camera. Everybody had a camera.
Oh my gosh.
They were there in the park. And I've experienced that here in Rocky Mountain. I could just, they were walking past. It's like, please don't step on me. So
They're massive.
oh, they are. I've seen them, and bears. I love bears. I've seen them from a distance, and I've seen them. I've been about 10, no more than 20 feet away from a 700-pound grizzly bear in Alaska. And
Aren't they like 7, like 8 feet? Like, what is?
he was huge. I saw him walking, and we had a guide. And I said, "Here comes the bear." And he's like, "It's okay, it's okay." And I see him coming out of the water, and he's huge. And he gets out, and his belly is so full of fish. He just turns and he looks at me, and I did have a camera. I'm click, 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 clicking him there, and he just went away. And then that was on my honeymoon. And also I went fly fishing for the first and only time at
Fly fishing?
yes, at Sockeye.
Oh my gosh, I want to try fly fishing. It looks so fun.
But in Brooks Lodge, where the salmon are so plentiful, absolutely no skill is required whatsoever. Stevie Wonder could catch fish in Brooks Lodge. So I caught 4. I also dropped 4. And then the last one, I reeled him in, like the guide was telling Toby, was telling me to do. And he's just bouncing around in the water. And I see this bear coming. So I said, "Toby, here comes a bear." He's like, "It's okay, just keep reeling him in." So I keep reeling him in. The bear gets closer. And then finally, Toby says, "We're going to cut the line." He cut the line, and the bear ate my fish.
Oh no.
And he said that would have been the largest one, over 25 pounds. But the bear.
Wait, just one?
Just one.
What?
They were huge.
Wow.
So I think
I would love to see a bear catch a fish. Just
Brooks
like
Lodge. Brooks Lodge is you've probably seen
so
the videos of it. They have a video cam.
Oh really?
So Google Brooks
Okay, I'm
Lodge.
obsessed now. Okay, so I definitely need to check that out because yes. I'm definitely a fan of fly fishing. I've never tried it, but I would love to try it. It just looks so peaceful, like a whole meditation thing. I don't even care if I catch anything, but also I like how they make the flies. Like that's its own thing, like the fishing flies, like it's its own process, and it just looks so fascinating to watch.
I'm not fascinated by that. No.
It's so intricate. I feel like it's its own like nature craft. It's yeah. Of the 13 or so parks, how many do you have left?
I think it's
go as
12. I
far
think
as
it's
the
12 because I
63?
visited Crater Lake twice, so I think it's 12.
Okay. Which one are you most anticipating as far as what you have left?
Probably American Samoa in Guam.
Mm,
It's cost prohibitive for me now. So if you see me on a corner
okay.
with a cup, please contribute, okay?
What's drawing you to that one in particular?
Because it's so far away and most people, it's their last one. And I don't know, are you familiar?
Mm,
Are you familiar? You're in Ohio, familiar with Grandma Joy?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Hmm.
Grandma Joy
Hmm.
went, so.
Okay.
Hmm?
I just learned something. Okay, cool. So that is okay. Where's the location again for that national park site?
American Samoa, it's in the Pacific.
American Samoa. Okay, Pacific. Okay. Um, I'm still working on my stamp book. I feel like I've lost a few stamps that I'm just like in the process of moving from place to place. But I always encourage other people to get the passport books if they've gone to any places, even if they had gone before and didn't have a passport book, to add them later if they ever do visit again. But I feel like what you've done has been like such an achievement, and like I don't know if I'll be visiting 63 national parks, but I feel like any that I can go to, I'm so excited about. And I know everyone doesn't have that opportunity. So for you to be able to just push forward and like make the journey your own is just like really inspiring. And I love that you've just taken the journey like it's just a wild ride and have enjoyed it thus far. So I'm very inspired by you and your story and your journey. And this has been like, I just want to hang out with you. We don't even have to go to a national park. I know we would have a time.
Yes.
If you could, this is the last question. If you could summarize the entire journey up until this point, miles, sites, the effort, and one word or feeling, what would it be?
One word, rewarding. I've learned so much and there's still so much to learn. I get so excited when I see those brown national park site signs.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to learn now? And I read the placards, and
Yeah.
it's a lifelong learning process.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
sheer jubilation. I'm there. And for me, it's the requisite magnet. I collect refrigerator magnets. I think now I'm over 400. They're on my trash
Oh
can.
my gosh.
I don't have any more room on the fridge, so they're on the trash can now. So I'm like a little kid. I get excited. Oh, I gotta go get my magnet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I collect the magnets too. It's hard to find space when you've collected, but I don't have that many. But it's hard to find space once you start to kind of corral, and I think it's just very like gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling when I look at them too, of just like all of the places I've been. It always helps me go back to like the memories of like the people I met, the food I ate, the trail I went on, like all of that stuff, which is like adds more value to the experience just from that one object. So yeah, this is like, I'm so glad I'm doing this week. Again, like it started out as this just like idea of like, okay, well, I don't know what Black people are like, if they're doing this, like if this is a thing that they love and enjoy and plan for. And it was just something that I was really excited and passionate about myself. So it was just like, okay, what does this experience look like for other Black people who do have an interest in national parks, who do have stories to share, who are discovering new things, and connecting in new ways through their national park visits. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad I did this. I don't think it would have been the same had I just kind of like, oh, that's an interesting thing to think about and not do anything with. I am still learning a lot myself in my own journey of storytelling and figuring out where my place is in all of this as far as my own adventures, visiting national park sites. And I'm learning a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot about other people, the history, and even just sharing that with family and friends. Like, I feel like I always have something fun and exciting to talk about. And then I get to meet people like you,
Yes,
Carolyne. I get
yes.
to meet people like you who are doing amazing things, and just your smile, your joy. I have so much support in the work that I'm doing, and you're a part of that. And I'm so grateful to know you and to share this passion for national parks with you. So the last thing I want to mention is your friendship with Audrey. She has been such a mentor to me. So I'm always just like, what is she like?
You know, when I started writing for when she was doing Legacy on the Land before I even met her.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends here, we were having dinner. I don't know, you haven't met Wandy. Wandy's over in Africa now. But we
No.
were at dinner
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was saying, I've never met her before. So then my friend Tom says, well, Sid's been on her boat before. So because she lived on the boat in South Florida and everything. So I finally got to meet her when I became a member of Diverse Environmental National Speakers Bureau. And she
Mm-hmm.
orchestrated a week of training at the Grand Canyon once again. And she was just this little ball of, and she still
Yeah,
is. She just turned
she is.
74.
Right?
And I saw
She's
pictures of
amazing.
her today running along the beach at 74. And Audrey is contagious. That's what she is.
She is.
She's
She
a
is.
good
Her
contagious.
joy is out of this world.
Yes.
Oh, you also got to meet James, my good friend James King Jr.
Oh, yes. We all met at the Grand
Yeah, as
Canyon.
part of the bureau.
Mhm.
Yeah.
James and Dudley and
Mm-hmm.
God, that was 2014. James Edward
Wow, so
Mills,
much time has passed.
uh, Teresa Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was about 50 of us there. So we need to keep this
Wow.
movement going because
Yeah.
sadly, I think only about 6% of African Americans visit national parks. 6%.
Yeah. Yeah. That definitely needs to increase. And I think the other part of it is helping community understand that our stories are very much a part of American history, and that we still have so much to learn, so much to uncover. And there's beautiful, beautiful stories and connections out there that we still have yet to witness or hear or read about. And I think this is the work that I'm doing is hopefully going to be a part of that, expanding those for what we have now and for future generations. But I feel like we always have to go back in order to be able to move forward. So that history has been there for a while. So it doesn't hurt to go back and kind of see where everything is woven together. But we can change that in terms of the very harmful history that we've had in the United States, and that can look very, very different moving forward, especially in relation to our resilience and our joy. So definitely expanding on that. And I'm just hoping that we can find some time at some point. I don't know when this is going to happen, but I'm speaking it into existence for us. Maybe I can make another trip to Colorado. I've been to the
Yes.
Rockies, and I got my first Canada J in the Rockies. I forget which trail we were on, but like it was really nice weather because it was May. And then we drove up and it was icy. And like people were putting the things on their shoes because there was so much ice on the trail.
Yes.
So within a matter of like 10 minutes, the whole landscape changed. It went from nice, beautiful to like icy snow. Not snow, but like more so ice on the trails, which was like I never seen that before. So I'm very excited for what's to come for myself. I don't know what place I'll be able to visit next, but I'm really excited for the journey. So again, I want to thank you, Carolyne, so much for being a part of Black National Parks with me the week. And if anyone's interested in connecting with you, like, do you have a blog? Do you have a website? Like, how do you share your adventuring?
No, and no. I am perpetual motion. I don't have time to do any of that. I'm too busy living it. So I say when I get old, because right now I'm just getting older. When I get old, I'll sit down and write about it. But I basically share it via Facebook. And I have 2 more pieces that I'm going to write for Audrey's Joy Train. Because I have Mount Rainier and Crater Lake left to write on those 2. So one is coming out Friday. That will be on Mount Rainier. And then next Friday, it will be Crater Lake.
Awesome. I will be sure to share those so people can read those. And congratulations on your 50th national park, which was Olympic, correct?
It was 51.
51. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I count them on my feet.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Congratulations so far, and I can't wait to hear more about your continued adventures with national parks. You're almost there. In my mind, you're almost there.
Oh, yeah,
you don't have that far to go.
I'm going to get there. Just remember, when you see me on the corner, contribute to my cup, my national park cup.
Yes. Thank you again, Carolyne. I really appreciate you. If you are tuning in, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please, if you haven't had a chance to watch from beginning to end, or if you would like to share with family, friends, please watch the replay on YouTube channel. The recording will be set there, and you can share it with everyone. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. This is day 2 of Black and National Parks Week. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.